Good day, gentlemen. Here's how I set healthy boundaries with my girlfriend of over 7 years after a lifetime of being a people pleaser who never set any boundaries with anyone, which often led to me resenting people and then going way overboard and setting boundaries that disrupted connection in a big way. 9 years ago, I started learning everything there is about relationships because honestly, I really needed it. And I'm far from done with learning, but I've built this really simple system when it comes to setting boundaries, and it works every time if you follow all these lessons. Honestly, if I had known these practices earlier, it would have saved me and my girls so much pain and so much trouble, because me not knowing this almost led to our relationship ending multiple times. I won't waste your time here, so let's get right into this. And if you think that setting boundaries is toxic or manipulative, well, yes, it can be, but we'll go beyond that, because you and me, we're men who want to do good in this world, right? And by the way, if I'm slurring my words a bit, that's because my mouth is frozen already. It's very cold. I should have brought the big gloves, honestly, the skiing gloves, but we're here and we're gonna do this. Now for lesson number 1, you can't even see this. Lesson 1, you have not been setting healthy boundaries. You've been engaging in power struggles. And I'm not blaming you here, because I did the same thing for years, because nobody taught you this stuff and nobody taught me this stuff either. But the thing is, you might be afraid of even setting boundaries in the first place, because you've made the experience that if you try to set a boundary with her, it leads to disconnection. And you don't want that, which is good. The thing is, setting a boundary doesn't lead to disconnection. What leads to disconnection is not saying what you mean and what you think and letting all that build up within you. And the thing is, what builds up within has to come out at one point or another. And eventually it spills out in a way that is not as healthy, not as loving as you might have wanted it to. And that's when you engage in a power struggle instead of setting a healthy boundary. And that's what leads to disconnection. I want to give credit to Joe Hudson from The Art of Accomplishment here, because he taught me the difference between the two. A power struggle is when you tell someone else what they need to do. A boundary is when you tell someone else what you will do whenever they engage in a certain behavior that you don't like, which you've told them about. Like, she knows that you don't like this. Not because she can smell it, but because you've actually stated that to her, right? There's a massive difference between you need to calm down, which is a power struggle, and if you don't stop treating me this way, I will leave the room for 10 minutes, and then I will come back and we can continue having this conversation. And if you continue treating me like this after those 10 minutes, I will leave for another 10 minutes and then come back so we can have this conversation. Can you feel the difference between those two? The thing is, people simply hate to be told what to do, you and me included. It just leads to resistance if someone tells us what to do. I'm stubborn as hell. No one tells me what to do if I didn't ask them for advice. And the same should be true, and mostly is true, for everyone else. No woman should submit herself to a man who tells her what to do, instead of having his own grounded, authentic, mature masculinity that leads instead of controlling. The reason why these red pill dorks, these man children shouting so loud on the internet in their safe space, the reason why these guys say, oh, there's no more feminine women left in this world, is not because there's no more feminine women left. That's complete bullshit. This is far from true. It's because a feminine woman who actually respects herself, or any woman who actually respects herself, who has a little bit of a good self-image, can't trust a man like that. Not only does she not want to trust him, not only does she not want to fulfill his needs or to meet his boundaries, she can't. Because what he is doing isn't leadership, it's control. It's a childish tyrant. So these guys, honestly, for them, this might actually be true. There might not be any good women out there for them, because a good woman simply won't deal with a guy like that. And I think this should be obvious. But If you instead go and you state what you will do when she does XYZ, that gives her the chance. This allows her to actually see what's, first of all, important to you, and see, hey, this is a boundary that is actually important to him and I love him, so I want to help him here. But also it allows her to choose her action. She can continue treating you like this, but then you will just leave the room. And that's a consequence she has to deal with, right? That she knows this because you communicated. But also she can choose to calm down and have that conversation with you in a mature way. And if she chooses that by herself, from her own initiative, because you've set that boundary, but you've let her decide what she will do, she does it from her own initiative. And then there's no resistance anymore. She doesn't feel like you're being a tyrant controlling her. She feels like, okay, this man has self-respect. He values himself. He values how he is treated by his loved ones. And that's a very attractive quality and a very trustworthy quality. When she makes that decision to, for example, calm down or stop shouting or treat you better in any way, that leads to lasting long-term change because she does it herself. When you tell her what to do, it leads to resistance. It leads to her feeling threatened. When you tell her what you will do, should she continue doing whatever she's doing, that makes her feel in control of her future. Now, for lesson 2, we need to go even deeper, because when it comes to setting healthy boundaries in our relationships, our intention matters more than you might think. Way more. Because she knows what your intention is. Why does she know that? How does she know that? Because of something that I call feminine intuition. This sounds a bit out there, but let me explain this, because you've experienced this in your own relationship many times, probably also in past relationships that you've been in, probably also with your mother, or maybe with a sister, an auntie, whatever. Have you ever felt like your girl knew exactly what you were thinking, even though you were trying so hard to hide it? Have you ever felt like have you ever noticed that she only asks you what you're thinking and how you're doing when she knew there was something going on that you didn't speak about? That's feminine intuition. Her motherly instinct can read you like a book. More specifically, she can read facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, way more accurately than people, most men, who live more in their masculine can do. Of course, we can all tap into this because we all have a masculine and a feminine side, but usually it's easier for women to tap into this just intuitively and naturally. So let me ask you this. Why do you even set boundaries? Do you do it to protect yourself? To teach her how to treat you? To change her? Or do you do it so that you can show up for her more? Do you do it so that you can be there for her, so that you can be loving to her, so that you have more to give in this relationship? Because that's why you should be doing it. The moment I learned to set boundaries from that place was the moment when everything changed. Because before that point, I used to try to subtly change her in certain ways. Honestly, out of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of conflict. And when I changed this, everything changed very quickly. And you know this, I don't have to say this, but this was not healthy what I did in the past. And I can forgive myself for that. I just didn't know better, right? Now I do know better. You also now know better. So I'll hold you accountable here. You should also now make this flip. And I'll tell you this. If you don't, you will feel like shit, because you will have this cognitive dissonance of, oh, this is who I still am, but this is who I know I could be. And that's a shit place to be at. But anyway, when I learned to do this from this place, what I essentially did is I now set boundaries from a place of taking care of myself, from a place of meeting my needs, from a place of achieving my goals and carving out the time and the energy and whatever I might need to do those things, to make sure that my cup, my individual cup, is as full as possible Because that allows me to do the one thing that we're all here to do as humans. Be of service to others. Be loving to our women. And while my girl sometimes might not like these boundaries, she can not only respect them, but she can respect me and love me much more because of them. And yes, sometimes these conversations, when I set these boundaries, lead to short-term conflict. But we've both learned, and honestly, we knew this from the start. When I made this flip, it felt just very different, very natural. We know that when we have these conversations, yes, there might be conflict short-term, but long-term, this deepens our bond and makes us more connected. And here's the real benefit of this lesson number 2. When you set boundaries from that place, over time, you don't have to set these boundaries anymore, because they've become second nature for both of you, and both of you know that your relationship needs these boundaries in order to thrive. And man, for lesson 3, you need to understand that setting healthy boundaries will save you so much time and so much energy that right now you're quite frankly wasting, but you could use it to achieve your goals, to work out more, to eat healthier, to sleep more, to scale your business, to spend more loving time with her. It's such a simple thing to do once you do it a couple times and you've learned the process, but it has one of the biggest ROIs, which means return on investment. It's like a business investing kind of term, right? But has one of the highest ROIs on everything in your relationship and in your life. It helps you achieve your goals. Because suddenly all that time that right now you spend worrying and that you spend ruminating and overthinking, and that honestly makes you doubt your relationship, right? Because you're constantly thinking, she doesn't do this well, she doesn't do this right. How do I tell her this? Do I tell her this? Do I not tell her this? Man, how can I solve this without telling her? All these thoughts are keeping you stuck. It's wasted time and wasted mental energy that you could use to do something great in this world. Your relationship is not holding you back in life. Your fear of setting healthy boundaries and your lack of skill in setting healthy boundaries is holding you back. And that's okay. I was at that place once too. You can get here where I am now, right? And we can both continue growing. I'm certainly, like I said, not at the end of this, right? A friend of mine, he came up with this concept recently, which he called work time versus worry time. I think this is very intuitive, right? Sometimes you have a task at work, in your business, whatever it might be, that you need to get done, but you're kind of procrastinating, you're putting it off, but then it continually pops into your head and you worry about it, you overthink, you procrastinate, right? It takes so much time, so much energy to think about that stuff continually. Probably takes hours for you to think about this stuff, when really it was a task that would have been done in 15 minutes. It's the same exact thing with setting these boundaries. If there's something that she continually does that you don't like, how much time, brother, how much time are you spending worrying about that? Worrying about, does this ever get better? Can I find a way to change this in any way, or maybe even accept this, even though I don't really like it, without talking to her about this? And I will tell you, you can't. Like, she's a human just like you are. And honestly, a lot of people, most people, you included, will appreciate a clue here and there in how they can treat their partner better. Because that's all that a boundary really is. It's just a clue, a piece of information that helps you treat your partner better, which is what you want to do anyway, and which is what your woman wants to do anyway. How much time do you waste? How much energy do you waste because you're too afraid to set that healthy boundary? How much time do you spend overthinking and worrying about this stuff? And how much does that take away from your work, your goals, your relationship? How much does it make you doubt your relationship? I know how much it does, because I've been there, brother. And look, in the past, it took me days, sometimes multiple weeks, to have these conversations with my girl. And you can imagine, during those days and weeks, resentment built up within me, right? Because I already knew what I didn't like about what she did or whatever, but she continued doing it, of course, because I didn't tell her, because I was afraid of conflict. And that resentment then again, going back to the start of this video, right, led to me having to let that all out at one point because it built up too far, and then engaging in a power struggle instead of setting a healthy boundary. Brother, don't let it get to that point. You know what to do. And doing the actual work, having the actual conversation, takes maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe an hour if it's a really big problem. But you've been overthinking certain stuff for weeks, maybe months, maybe years. Stop that. You know what to do. One last piece of advice before I send you off to actually have those conversations with her and actually do the work, because I'm not here to just waste 20 minutes of your time and you then doing nothing, you doing jack shit. I'm here to actually help you do something here. So anyway, one last piece of advice here. You can let her know that you're angry or frustrated or sad without letting these emotions play out physically. What I mean here is this. You don't have to let anger turn into aggression for her to understand that you're angry, for her to get the message. There's a real magic in looking her straight in the eyes and telling her, I love you, but what you did made me really angry, and I am really angry right now. And if you continue doing this, I will do XYZ. Leave the room for 10 minutes, that kind of stuff, right? There was no anger portrayed here. She felt safe, right? My girl feels safe when I do this with her, and I feel safe when she does this with me, which is, of course, also a thing, right? And that leads to us not shutting down. It leads to us not needing to protect our heart, to close our heart, to protect ourselves. Get defensive, get offensive. That's not necessary. We can simply take the message, and this is the key point, we are still, when we're communicating like this, the other person still gets how important this is to us. Because we have the courage to look them straight in the eyes and tell them, I love you, but I am angry right now, and if you don't stop doing this, I will do this. This is so magical, so powerful, because it allows her to see how she's hurting you, which she doesn't want to do. She doesn't want to hurt you, of course. But it allows her to see that because you're not hurting her back. She might have done something that hurt a younger part of you, a more fragile part of you, your inner child, as people say, right? Some part of that. And if you shout back, you're going to do the same thing for her. And then she has to protect herself. And then you've just made the problem a lot worse. But if you're able to step up in this grounded, mature way, this calm, collected way, that allows her to see you fully and to see how and where she's hurting you and to correct her mistake. And that's all that she wants to do, and that's all that you want her to do. This is what leads to lasting, long-term change in a relationship. And I know that these practices aren't easy. I know that they sound great, but I know just as well as you do that this isn't easy, because staying calm, staying grounded, not protecting yourself, not closing down, not getting defensive in these moments is very difficult, because your mind is telling you all these stories about why she's hurting you and how she's such an evil person and how maybe you even deserve to be treated this way. That was certainly something that I've experienced. And we then, if we're not conscious about this and not trained on this, we react unconsciously to these stories and basically just fight back on the same exact frequency, even though consciously we know that these stories are complete and utter bullshit, that she's not out to get us, that she doesn't want to hurt us, that she's not an evil person, that she's not a narcissist. It's not true. We know that consciously, but subconsciously it doesn't feel like that in those moments, right? And then, of course, you buying into such stories leads to you shutting down, not staying calm, not staying grounded, getting defensive, whatever else, right? Hurting her back, not setting boundaries in the right way, engaging in these power struggles, like we said. And brother, I want to help you with this because I've struggled with this for most of my life. As a child, as a teenager, I was very explosive. And I often hurt the people around me in this childish and immature attempt to protect myself. And this did trickle into adulthood and even into my current relationship. And the best thing that I found that has helped both me and the men that I work with in my mentorship to actually overcome this is what I like to call asymmetrical thinking. And I made a whole video on this right here that you can go and watch, where I explain exactly how to do it so that you can actually, in those moments, stay calm, stay loving, stay present with her. And in that way, actually set healthy boundaries that help her treat you better and that help both of you build a relationship that feels truly connected and where your bond is bulletproof. So go watch that right now if you're interested. Take action on what I told you today, on what you learned today, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Saus.